Hey, this is Romey-Mak, and you're listening to the Interview with Rome podcast. Yeah, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of Interview with Rome. Got a great one for you guys today. Advocate for mental health, and like myself. And we're just really gonna have fun with this. I have with me Mr. Eric Lewis of the Mystery Project, which I'm sure he'll get into, explain. But this man does does it all. Filmmaking, photography, podcasting, and like I mentioned earlier, with mental health. And it's from Louisiana, and now living in Dallas. Hopefully not a Cowboy fan, but we'll figure all that out as we get into the interview. But it should be a great one for you guys. I'm really excited about this, and excited for you guys too to learn as much as myself. So anyway, without further ado, let me bring forth Eric Lewis. Yo, E, what up, man?
Hey, what's happening, man? How you doing?
Good, brother, man. It's like I said, I appreciate you being on the show, believing in the dream, man. We're trying to move forward and keep on pressing on. So yeah, how we doing today, though?
I'm blessed, man. I'm definitely feeling awesome this morning.
All right.
Woke up and just had an idea, which I attempt to do that often, actually, every once in a while. I'll wake up with an idea on something, and I'll just start writing that idea, or after a dream I've had. So yeah. I've been up. Actually, it's funny. I've been up since about maybe 3:30 this morning.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it happens
that makes
often. Me being a creator.
Oh yeah, man. That's normally the times where you will create between I would say, at least for me, probably midnight and 4 o'clock is where most of my ideas come from. So
right, and yeah, they call it the witching hour. Actually, I did some research on it a while ago. It's like that is the best time when you wake up from a dream or wake up from whatever, and you just immediately have a thought in your mind. You just have to write it down, and that's something that I've been doing for years now. Just anytime I wake up from a dream or wake up from, and it's always at around that same time, so between 1 and 4, that I always have some of the coolest ideas. And in fact, a lot of the things that I've came up with now, a lot of the projects that I've worked on over the last few years have all stemmed from that idea, or from those ideas that I had at that time.
Yeah, no question, man. So we're gonna start it off. We're gonna get it popping right now, man. Who is Eric Lewis?
Oh man, you got about 3 hours.
Yeah, whatever you got, big baby.
Well, I'll keep it brief, man. Eric Lewis is a writer at heart, a creator, podcaster, DJ, photographer, just all types of different things. The whole term jack of all trades. I really believe I am that person where I can do it. Like whatever it is that you think that I can do, then more than likely I can do it, or I've done it before, or I've helped other people do it. So, but for right now, I'm mainly most definitely in my writing bag. I'm writing more. I'm coming out with a few projects, or with a couple of projects, which we'll talk about. And I'm just in that mindset, man. But ultimately, I'm a creator at heart, and so I create things.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So how long have you been doing photography?
Well, photography, it was just something that I just kind of stumbled upon. Maybe about it. Well, let me say this: it all kind of started at around the same time, back in 2013. Is when prior to that, I was a part of a collective, and we all got together. I was a part of a collective that we did plays, or that we were going to start creating plays, and I was one of the writers on the team, and we were able to come up with several ideas on some plays and some short films or whatever that we were going to all do. Well, it ended up folding, and it didn't work well. It ended up just kind of like, I guess, can I curse on here?
Man, we can say whatever the fuck we want to say on this thing.
Good. Yeah. God damn it, good. Then, okay.
Yeah.
So it ended up going to shit. Like the whole idea ended up going to shit, and I was somewhat discouraged by it because I always knew I had talent in me, and I always knew that I had something that I needed to get out to the world to see and to be able to ingest. And so when it all went to shit or whatever, I said, okay, what the hell am I going to do? And I was talking to one of my really good friends at the time, who's actually been very instrumental in me creating what I am now. She said, well, why don't you culminates into that one thing. So to answer your question about the photography, I started that in around maybe 2014, just dabbled with it. I ended up getting my first camera back in the end of 2013, and I just started dabbling with the photography side of it because I always liked candid shots. I don't like the traditional, smile at the camera bullshit. I like the actual candid shots. I like to see people laughing. I like to catch pictures of people eating food, catch pictures of people while they're just having conversations with their significant other and stuff like that. So I did that for a while, and then ended up getting back into filmmaking. Filmmaking was one of my strong suits. I created over 30 short films, and just did that and just went with it. But now the project that I'm working on is a little bit different. It still has some elements of creativity in it, but it's more or less now for a bigger purpose, which is mental health. So now this podcast will be the very first time that I introduce it to everyone. So
that's awesome,
what
man.
I have going on.
I'm thankful I can be that platform for you, bro. That's exactly what I want to do with my show, man. I had to have everybody understand that this is here for you, man. They're here for you to get your message out. So yeah, like I said, man, that's dope. That for this to be the place where you first talk about that. So I really do appreciate being a part of your journey as well, man.
Same here, man. I appreciate you being a part of it. I appreciate you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. And again, given this opportunity to talk about exactly what it is that I have been working on for the past 3 to 4 months now.
Yeah.
And it's been a really big baby of mine. I've been really taking care of it. I've been really keeping this one close to the hip. Being able to announce it today is going to be pretty awesome stuff. So I definitely appreciate you for allowing me to do it.
Yes, sir. So what is the hardest part of filmmaking for you, bro?
Editing, without a doubt. You're in the podcasting.
You can say that again, man.
I'm telling you, man, you are in the podcasting realm, dude, so you understand exactly what it is. Like we talked about earlier, it's one thing to create the story and to create to record it. It's one thing to record it, but it's a totally different thing to edit it and to make it relatable to the people. As far as filmmaking is concerned, I absolutely love filmmaking because, again, I don't even really consider myself a filmmaker. I consider myself a storyteller. So whether it be in the filming, in the visual standpoint, or whether it be in the audio standpoint, because I've done some audio stories as well, some audio podcast stories. And editing has always been the bane of my fucking existence, man. But when I tell you, and the reason why that is the case is because when it comes, you have to be able to tell the story. Editors are the ones who actually put the story together and create it compelling enough to where people can listen to it or they can see it and they want to continue to stay engaged in it. But editing is definitely the most difficult part about filmmaking by a long shot, because now that I've directed all the parts, I've filmed all the parts that I need to film. Now it's all about putting it together and telling the story. And it's very difficult, but at the end of the day, it's much more rewarding as well, because you get to see your final product and you get to see the reaction from people, and they love it. And when people love it, that means you did your job in telling that story the right way.
Do you feel like this is your calling through multimedia?
Yeah, I believe so, man. And I'll be frank with you. It took me years to come to that realization. Years, almost a decade to come to that realization, because I've always been attracted to filming and music and writing. However, I never really saw it as something that I can definitely continue on for the rest of my life with until the Mystery Project came into existence. Once I created the Mystery Project. Now, the Mystery Project has gone through several different phases as well. Like, it was filmmaking. So at first, I had a 24-hour radio station where I would play music all day, 24 hours, like R&B music, slow jams, and things like that. And then it ended up morphing from that into filmmaking. Once the radio station, the radio network got canceled and removed or whatever, I ended up transitioning and getting into filmmaking. ultimately the goal is to create something. So whether I'm creating it in a filmmaking standpoint or from an audio standpoint, and it's telling a story. So multimedia has definitely been the thing that's been it has definitely been the one thing that I can say is I've been most attracted to, and I feel is my actual gift and my calling.
Yeah, man. You know, and you know, it's at times it takes. Sometimes you know it within the first time you do it. Sometimes it takes, like you said, almost a decade to really realize what your passion, what your calling is in this life, man. I still feel like music is my calling. But I also feel that like podcasting is going to be the thing to open the door for that, like to bring that attention to it. Because what I wanted, again, like I told you, I wanted to create a platform where people can come there and put their stuff out there and get and have a voice. And that's really what I wanted to do. That's the original idea of 2 Cents, was about giving a voice to those who don't have one, and a place where they can use it and then just take it and do whatever they want to do with it. So for you and any other, you know, entrepreneur that I have on the show, like guests that I have on the show, they can use the link, post it to their websites, and then, you know, people just get like this intricate view of who you are, what you're about, and what you can do, and what you can do for society. With your gift. So, you know, like I said, I'm truly grateful for you, like for you being on, and then just everyone else that comes on here and just like kind of puts things in different perspectives, and like people may not look at it the same way, you know, like as they did before listening to the interview. And that's really what we want to do. We want to try to educate ourselves, man, be informed about just life in general, but just like I try to learn new things, getting out of the comfort zone in a sense.
I agree with you 100%. In order for us to grow, what's the old saying? You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes, sir.
Because the moment that you're stagnant is when you're dead, so to speak. When you're dead inside, and you cannot stay stagnant. You have to forever learn and forever grow. Well, you have to forever learn, and then once you continue to learn, you continue to grow. So you need to be able to have that growth and have that level of elevation. Because why not? Why not try to shoot for the stars? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Why not do the absolute best? Go the hardest you fucking can in order for you to be able to get to the next level. Because ultimately, getting to the next level is the goal, and whatever that next level may be for you. In your case, podcasting is the starting point. But eventually, you're looking to, if I'm reading you correctly, you're looking at creating a full-on network of things where people can go and they can build their platform from your platform. So by you helping them, they'll be able to help themselves, and they'll be able to grow themselves, which will in turn make you grow.
Yes, sir.
Everything is cyclical. It's a cycle. So yeah, so I commend you, man, for being that one that's spearheading it in your community and spearheading it in your circle and just beyond, and getting people on board. You bringing people like me onto your platform, allowing us to be able to say what we want, because then we grow.
Yeah.
And then once we grow, then everybody grows.
Yeah.
The old saying is the rising tide lifts all ships. So like if you get on, or if you grow, once you grow, then everyone else around you grows. So that's the case, man. That's the goal.
Yeah, man. So I mean, I just found it, interesting about your story and what you wanted to do as far as like just like with filmmaking and where you were in the beginning, where you said, I don't know how to do this shit. And I remember thinking, like, I was told it with the origin of like doing I wanted to do podcasting. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. That is clearly know what that was. Like that's like I'm not built for radio or anything like that. And then I didn't realize that I just used like the practices that I have to use at my job. Like working on the airfield, and we actually talked to the control tower, and you know how you have to be very professional, and everybody has the same lingo. I just used that very same confidence that I have to use on the radio, and then like. Everything else kind of made itself come together. You figure things out as you go along, which I'm sure you realize doing filmmaking. Like, it's amazing how God and the universe can pull those things together whenever you try. All you have to do is put yourself out there. All you have to do, the hardest part really is just trying. Just being able to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to do this. We're gonna go forward with this and just see what happens. And you go again. You'll have your bumps and bruises along the way, but as long as you're failing forward, I think that everything it'll work itself out.
I agree with you. I'll tell you a funny story about that too. Was actually one of the reasons why, because I was the same way. Whenever I started the Mystery Project in 2013. Again, I was tired of other people, just waiting on other people and relying on other people to make up their mind on what they wanted to do. And so I just decided to do it myself. Something that happened right when I started my company, I knew I wanted to get into filmmaking. So again, the radio thing was in the beginning, but I knew eventually I wanted to get into filmmaking because I had an attraction for it. And so when I never forget, I was talking. I went to a meetup group back in my hometown when I was living in Louisiana, and it was a screenwriter meetup group. And so I was in there with maybe about a group of 10 people, and we were just all kind of like collaborating and just getting ideas, and everybody was just having ideas on screenwriting, on just being able to write the perfect script so they can pitch it to people. Well, my goal was a lot larger than that. My goal was to basically build a media community or a media company where everything will be in-house. I'll have an in-house writer. I can write it, I can film it, I can edit it, and I can put it out myself, distribute it myself. That was my goal. And so when we had a chance to go in and talk to everyone stood up and said exactly what they wanted to do. And the majority of it was them wanting to do something in regards to writing the perfect script or whatever. Well, it was my turn, and what I said was, hi, my name is Eric Lewis, and I'm a writer, and I want to learn how to do screenwriting because ultimately I want to be able to build a media company. And so the mediator or the moderator of the class, he said, okay, so you mean you want to be like you want to have your own studio? And I said, yeah, I want to have my own studio. He said, well, why would you want to do that? And I said, well, I want to do that because I want to learn how to do everything in-house. I want to be able to film it myself. I want to be able to edit it myself. I want to be able to put it out myself, write it, create the entire thing from beginning to end, from the rooter to the tutor. He said, oh, well, you can't do that, man. You have to, you should stick to just one thing. You stick to just writing your script or whatever and send it out to people, and hopefully the studios can pick it up for you. I was like, and I said, well, why do I want to do that? Why? Because, again, I'm thinking long term. I'm like, if I send it to someone, the odds of it actually getting picked up by somebody is like slim to none. Whereas if I get all the training that I need to learn how to do it myself, I'll put it out myself. All the money comes back to me. And so he said, well, I just don't think that you're going to be good for that. And he was like, and I said, so why don't you think that? I mean, are you into filmmaking? He said, no, I just write. I said, well, so why can't I do that? I'm having a full debate with this guy. He's telling me I can't do it. And I'm like, okay, so why can't I do it? Well, I just don't think you're going to do good because I have people that tried to follow the same path as you, and they didn't do good. So they went back to writing. I said, okay, cool. So, me being the honorable guy that I am, I stayed the entire course, and at the end of the day or whatever, when it was all said and done, the mediator said, hey, well, I'll see you next week. And I'm like, no, he won't. He won't. That very night, I went on YouTube, and I figured out exactly how to film, what camera angles are, how to shoot the rule of thirds, how to do all of these different things, because I'll be damned if I sit up there and let somebody else diminish what my goal is that I had set for myself. And at that point, I learned how to do every single thing. And another thing too, as a side note, is that night when I went on YouTube, I said, okay, in order for me to do this, I need to have a camera, I need to have certain materials, I need to have a script ready to go, whatever. And so I created a vision board. So and in January, or the meeting was in March, or the meeting was in February. So by April the 1st, I said, okay, by April the 1st, my goal is to learn how to write a script properly, and I want to have 2 scripts done by April the 15th. I want to have 2 scripts done by April the 15th, because it was the last day of income tax day. By April the 15th, I have 4 scripts done. I said, okay, cool.
Yeah, man, you have to have a bit. You got to see it. You have to manifest it. You put things into existence. And I want to touch back on that individual that said can't. I watched one video, and maybe for those listening to the interview, that this will inspire them to. And can't is one of the. If I hate anything, I hate the word can't in vocabulary, and I'll tell you why. Because like Will Smith uses a parable, and he says, he that says he can and he that says he can't are usually both right. You know what I mean? So it's not a matter of can or can't. It's will or won't. You know what I'm saying? Whether you shouldn't, or you should, or you don't, or you do. Like a lot of people say, oh, you can't do that. Oh, really? I'm sure there were a lot of people that told they can't do something. And they did that, you know. So again, you can have somebody try to diminish, like what happened to you, try to diminish what you got going on, or you can say that's motivation, that's inspiration for me to do it even more. The fact that you think that I'm not going to be able to pull this shit off because you have no idea how powerful I am and the things that I can do with my mind and my effort. And that's one thing that pisses me off with a lot of people in life is effort. You know, effort is everything. You do not have to be perfect. You do have to show effort. I don't care what you do it in. You know, relationship, at work, like anything. You know, anything part of a team. Like for those that, like for like those that do online gaming and stuff like that, like with first person shooters, they don't expect you to be perfect. But they damn sure need that effort on that team in order for everybody to, to win. Effort goes a long way, man. Fail forward. You gotta fail forward.
I agree, man. And one of the main things that I always say to people is you're going to get bumps and bruises as you go. I mean, those are your battle scars. So whenever you get to the promised land and whenever you get to your final goal, that you can showcase those bruises. Look, these are the things that I've gone through in order for me to become the success that I am now. You're going to make mistakes, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it's great to make mistakes because at that point, you'll know exactly what to do or what not to do the next time around. So, and like the old saying goes, the only people who never make mistakes are the ones who never try anything.
Yep.
So, you sit up there and you don't even try, you basically shut yourself down before even trying to see if you even worth doing this shit or not. Man, fuck that. No, get out here, make it happen. At least you can say that you failed and you tried and you failed instead of saying that you never tried it at all.
Yes, indeed, man. So I want the folks, man. You want to tell the folks where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in a small town called Plaquemine, Louisiana. It's about 20 minutes outside of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is the state capital of Louisiana. And born and raised there, I spent a good part of my early years there. I moved around a few times as I became of age and became old enough to kind of get on my own. I moved everywhere from Georgia to Lafayette, to Louisiana, Texas. Moved back to Louisiana. I moved from Louisiana to Texas. Moved back to Louisiana, then to Georgia, Albany, Georgia, which is more southwest Georgia. It's about an hour away from Tallahassee. Moved from Georgia back to Louisiana. Moved to Lafayette, Louisiana, which is about an hour from Baton Rouge. Moved back to Baton Rouge again. Then moved to Texas. Then moved back to Houston again. And then from Houston, now up here in Dallas. So I moved to a lot. But what I will say is I've learned a lot throughout my transitions and throughout my moves. So yeah, it's been a roller coaster, but I love it though. I love every minute of it.
Yeah, man. I gotta ask you, make sure I mentioned it on the beginning. Now, being that you living in Texas now and in Dallas, I say again, Dallas, would you happen to be a Cowboy fan?
Hell no, man. I can't do it.
My brother.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
My brother.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, man. I mean, I like the Cowboys. The Cowboys are cool. They're good. They're pretty good and everything. But I'm a New Orleans Saints fan. All right.
Yeah, Big Easy.
Easy. Yeah, I'm from Louisiana, man. I gotta anywhere in Louisiana, you gotta rep for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
That's tradition.
Yeah.
It's tradition.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that later. with the sports question, I want to tackle into some, I want to say some the like business related the questions for you, man. So what keeps you focused on your path for success?
Now, the one thing that keeps me focused on my path is the ability, the idea of knowing that I am going to be a service. That keeps me focused. And what I mean by that is, somebody asked me a long time ago, which I'm going to ask you that too. Well, this is another question I'm going to ask. But somebody asked me a while ago, like, what are you doing then? Like, what are you doing? Like, what exactly do you do? And I said, I do everything. I do everything, but I do nothing. They were like, well, why do you do it? And I'm like, well, I do it simply because I want to help others. And I believe I can change the world one person at a time. And ever since I said that, I've always held on to that. So the idea of knowing that I can change the world one person at a time is what gets me motivated, is what keeps me going, and it's what keeps me sane, I guess you can say, because there's a lot of crazy things going on in the world, but as long as I'm focused on the task that I have, then I'm going to continue to keep going. In fact, that's my mantra for the Mystery Project: keep going. Anything that I do, I always put keep going behind it, because you got that. That is the one thing above all else that you must do in this world, because everyone is born with a talent and with a gift. Your goal is to figure out what that gift is and to be able to provide that gift to the world. And that is what I'm doing. My goal is to be able to provide my gift to the world, one person at a time. So that's what keeps me focused on the task at hand. And also because I want to make sure my daughters know, because I have 3 daughters, and I want to make sure all 3 of them know that it can be done, and that it's not something that, you have to go to school for and, whatever, because the world is going to be great to you. But you have to stay focused and stay the course, and you'll be able to achieve whatever it is what you want to achieve. And that's my goals.
Yeah, man, I got a daughter myself, man, 15 years old. That time creeps up. It creeps up on you. Yes. One day, like I say all the time, one day you're at Chuck E. Cheese getting tokens, and then next you're at the nail salon watching her get her nails done. It's like, where did the time go? And
like, what the hell, man?
yeah, it's an adjustment period, and because you think you're gonna be young forever, and they show you, they're basically the mirror for you that and if they're getting older, you have to be getting older, and. But I mean, it's just part of life, man. It's great watching her grow into the beautiful young lady that she is, and very, very intelligent, man. I just love her. I love her to pieces, man. Have you ever wanted to stop doing what you're doing?
1,001 times. I've tried to stop a few times, quite a few times actually in my life. However, like Pookie from New Jack City, man, it just be calling.
Yeah.
Just keep calling me. Like it's something that, like, there's one time in particular where it was right after my showcase. I had a showcase that I created for people to come in, and for individuals, for young talent, up and coming talent in New Orleans, and to come in and showcase their talents, whether it be in photography, whether it be in painting, whether it be in filmmaking, whether it be in music or whatever. And after that, I got so much of a high from it that I began to remove myself from everything else that was going on in my life. So I started alienating myself from my family, my friends, or whatever, because I thought I was the big shit. I thought I was the king shit. And so I made a conscious effort to take a hiatus, to take off and say, you know what, let me just get a regular job, because I don't want to sacrifice my family or my home life for this. At the time, I didn't feel it was appropriate. So I said, well, let me just quit for right now. And if I feel the need to come back, I'll go back. And it wasn't even a whole week. Somebody was calling me for a job to film something for them. And I was like, just no matter how many times I stop or whatever, I always go back to it. Even times when I just think that it's not working out like I want it to, when I get discouraged and everything like that, I still I think about the long game. I think about the fact that people like Samuel L. Jackson was in their 40s, in their mid-40s when he started acting, before they got their big break.
Yeah.
Vera Wang was in her mid-40s, early 50s before she started her Vera Wang collection. People like that, they give me
Yep, you block out the negativity, man. You got to have tunnel vision because you're not going to have, people aren't going to see your vision the way that you do because it's your vision.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And that's really how that works, man. I know we talked about a little bit about mental health and like in the intro, but I want to ask you, man, have you ever dealt with depression? And if so, how did you deal with depression? And then also, what's a trigger for you with your depression?
Good question, man. That's a really good question. Yeah, I've suffered from depression. I've suffered from instances where I wanted to like end it all. This was a few years ago, about a decade or so ago, almost 15 years ago, actually, now that I think about it. I've tried to just take it all, just end it all, whatever. And I told the Lord, I said, look, if I wake up from this, then I'm here for a purpose. I'm here for a reason. And I did. And ever since then, I've been not necessarily vocal about it, but I've been kind of more on a more positive mindset with everything that I do now. Everything I do now, yeah, I have a positive outlook. As far as that was a really depressing moment at the time for me. Now, fast forward to 2 years ago, prior to my podcast, the Living Unmastered podcast that I had, I was going through a really, really, really bad time. This was right around the time where I uprooted my entire family to Houston from Louisiana. We were living really good, really comfortable in Louisiana. And I had always made a promise to my middle daughter. She's 17 now, but she was 15 at the time. I had always made a promise to her that I would be there whenever she gets to high school, her first year in high school. No, she was 14 at the time. My apologies. And when she made it to high school, I made that promise to her. And I ended up uprooting everything, uprooting my entire family. We sold our house and moved to Texas. Well, during that time, it was difficult for my wife to find a job, and of course, financial struggles began to kind of take a rise. And I was working, I wasn't able to afford it, and I was just living off credit cards. And it was just a mess, man. And eventually, I ended up I had to go see somebody about it because I had a breakdown in my car. I was headed to work, and I was talking to my mom. And it's always funny how parents can, or either parents or like significant others or guardians or whatever, can always detect that something is wrong with you. Even if you may not see something is wrong, they know something is wrong.
Yeah.
And so just out of the blue, I called my mom one day and I said, hey, Mom, what's going on? She said, hey, son, what's wrong? And as soon as she said that, I said, everything is all right. And she said, no, something is wrong. What's wrong? I immediately broke down crying. For like 5 minutes, I couldn't stop crying uncontrolled. And she was the one who put things into perspective for me, letting me know that, hey, you may be going through things because you just had some severe traumatic experiences that happened. I went to go see a doctor about it. The doctor told me you're clinically depressed, and she diagnosed me with high anxiety and mild depression and clinical depression. I said, okay, so what do I do? First thing she did was give me some pills, Lexapro. I think it was Lexapro. And I'll never forget this. It was July 3rd of 2017, and she gave it to me, and I took one, and I felt like a zombie. I wasn't myself at all. I felt like a zombie the entire from July 3rd at around 6 o'clock all the way to July 5th. I was in and out of sleep. That one pill had me in and out of sleep. I just felt very weird. Now, this is not to discount therapy or anything like that, medicinal therapy. I'm not saying that, for some people it works wonders for them. I'm only speaking from my experience that it had me feeling like a zombie, and I vowed never, ever, ever to feel that way again. So I started looking at more holistic approaches to cure depression and stuff. And so I ended up meditating. I started meditating, and I started praying a lot every day. 3 or 4 times a day I would pray. 2 or 3 times a day I would meditate. And I did that for about a month without taking any pills or whatever. And so I had a follow-up a month later with the doctor, and she checked my vitals again, and everything was back normal. My vitals back normal, whatever. She said, oh, well, the medicine has been working for you. And I said, well, no, I haven't taken the medicine because I felt really weird afterwards. And she said, and so instead of her saying, oh, well, cool, we'll just keep doing what you're doing, keep meditating, keep praying, she decided to prescribe me another medicine. Well, just take this one instead. And I'm like, exercise at least 4 times a week now. And ever since then, I have gotten out of the depressive state. Now, every once in a while, I will still feel something. I can feel it coming. It can be triggered by, I'm just having an overwhelming day at work or something like that. But that's when I begin to, again, I stop right where I am and I meditate no matter where I am, whether I'm at work, I jump into my car, I just take 5 to 10 minutes out and I just keep saying, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you for the blessing. Thank you for everything that you've done for me. Thank you for everything that you've given me. And after that, I meditate for about 5 or 10 minutes, and I'm good. So that determining exactly what the triggers are is hard because everybody can be triggered by something. So you just have to determine exactly what it is that your trigger is. Once you figure out what it is, then you take action immediately. You don't stop. You don't wait till you get home. Take action immediately. And
yeah, that's a great testimony, man, to dealing with depression. What I've learned as far as from my own depression that I've dealt with is that I think I read somewhere, probably through Pinterest. I'm always on Pinterest. Pinterest is like my mental health therapist at times, with a lot of like the quotes, you know what I mean? And even sometimes, even like positive stuff on Instagram. Like sometimes you got to remind yourself of the king that you are. And because we can get so caught up in just trying to be like the best at what we do that we're our biggest critic a lot of times. So we have to sit back and be like, you know what? You got this, man. Like one of the best tips I've seen with dealing for those of us that deal with depression is like think of 3 things that you're grateful for, and that sometimes that helps. I've also learned that eating fruit, eating more life than death when it comes to food has also helped. So like that's why I start my day with fruit now, and because that it's proven to help over time. Like the past few months, I think it's about 4 or 5 months ago, I started eating fruit. And then like I find myself not being so down about things. And my triggers, they stem from childhood trauma, from toxic relationships that I've been involved in, from family to young ladies and young girls I've been involved with throughout my life, from like middle school, like your middle school days up until like even till now. And those things, like they trigger, everything stems from your childhood trauma. And then, but these things here happen, and then they bring back these old feelings, and you go right. And me having photographic memory, I go right back. I could see it. I could see it just replaying in my head as it goes along, and it just feels like you don't know how to overcome these things. And I intend to see a therapist about it. It's at least going to therapy. That is like actual sitting in a room and doing therapy. And that's another thing that's not really spoken about in our community. To go to therapy, like we were talking before we started recording about how that, in our community, we're told to be, you acting like a bitch, or, you're too tough. And I mean, or you got to be too tough, you got to be tough and all this other shit so that you're able to deal with, whatever pain. Like you're masking your emotions, and you're not dealing with the pain. And all that does is just, you internalize everything. So what happens when you internalize is that you create a volcano of misery, a volcano of pain, and eventually it's going to erupt. I don't know when it's going to erupt. It may erupt where violently, you may go off on somebody, and verbally abusive. It's going to find its outlet. You know what I mean? And if we mentioned earlier, if you don't heal, if you don't reveal, you won't heal anything. So we have to be honest with ourselves in every community, not just Black. When it comes to mental health, we have to reveal these pain. We have to address these things, and then perhaps maybe we can start the process of healing and being healthier and having healthier relationships with everyone that we encounter with, whether it be work, whether it be our families, whether it be our significant others, just trying to, and our friends, just trying to be better You know, I really do believe that.
I agree with you, man. There's a couple of things that you touched on that I forgot to mention, which I can attest to. One of the main things you said is fruit, eating fruit and just eating more healthy. And that was one of the things I forgot to mention too. Like during my 2-year meditation period, that I have started. I'm a vegetarian now, so I actually gave up meat about right at 2 years on July the 5th. I gave up meat, and I decided to go more of a just eat more plant-based foods, and just go from there. And when I tell you, it is a big, and this period is 2 years later. When I tell you that there is a huge difference in the way I feel, the way my brain works, the way I look, the way I act, everything. It makes a huge difference. And so I don't, not necessarily, I won't say I encourage everyone to just go cold turkey like I did, because it was a huge adjustment for me. But what I will say is that it definitely makes a difference whenever you begin to take more care of your body with the things that you eat. Because we all know 80% of your health comes from what you eat. And 20% of course comes from diet, from exercise and things like that. But yeah, you have to watch what you eat. And the second thing that you touched on is therapy. I've been seeing a therapist now for about, it'll be almost a year now, actually. I've been seeing a therapist since about August of last year, 2018. And that has helped me tremendously. Just being able to remove some of the things, not necessarily even remove it, but understanding where it came from and understanding how to be able to, because like you said earlier, we can't heal what we can't reveal, or what we don't reveal. So you have to be able to understand exactly what it is, what type of trauma that you've received or endured over the last few years, and be able to dish it out and to remove it, to let it go if you need to. And yes, I strongly encourage people, especially people in our community, in the Black and brown community, to go and see a therapist. It is okay to see a therapist. Some people will say, from people from a more heavily religious background, they'll be like, well, just talk to Jesus about it, talk to God about it. That's fine too. There's nothing wrong with having two people to talk to. So go and see a therapist. Go and see someone, especially if you begin to feel that things just aren't clicking in your mind and things just aren't working well in your favor. Definitely go see one.
I mean, I'm glad we could touch on like mental health. You being an advocate, me being an advocate about it, and hopefully people listening to this right now are inspired and motivated enough that they'll want to go and talk to a therapist and understand that no matter how young or how old they are, especially like the older folks, because again they were raised a certain way to not even think of even doing therapy. Folks like my parents, and I'm sure they've been through some traumatic things in their life that I'm sure would make them a lot healthier mentally if they did go see a therapist, and then even younger folks, like again family members like cousins and like your brother, your sister, whoever, man. Just like life can be hard sometimes, man. Again, you mentioned about like the breakdown that you've had. This year alone has been, the last 2 years have been the last year and a half has been very challenging for myself, and like dealing with things, you're just feeling like you're not able to come up for air a lot of times, and life has to go on because granted, yes, we all do deal with mental health, but we also have to deal with bills, and you have to do what you have to do to keep things afloat, man. Especially being a parent and being a responsible adult. It's just the way the world works. So you find yourself in a place where it's like, man, I know that this shit is hard, but I gotta find some way to move on and understand what the end game is for doing what you're doing, and you never can lose sight of that. And it's so easy, with so many distractions between like social media and just life in general, you can get sidetracked very, very easily, man. So it's great to just pull yourself back in. Like I've even I keep this might help some that have issues dealing with distractions. I have an iPad, and I keep most of, like, if not all social media, or most of social media, specifically on this iPad, and I don't put social media on my phone. Because again, one, that'll keep you up at night, because social media is like a drug, because we always feel like somebody's going to post something and we don't want to miss it, or something happens on the internet and we don't want to miss it. So I just kind of remove myself from that and just keep all social, like most social media platforms, and putting it to this one device. And then once, it's time to go to bed, or it's just time to like be with the family, you can put this, you put the iPad away, and you have your phone out. But that's pretty much it, man. Because it allows you to exist in reality for a little bit. We've gotten to a point in our society to where we're constantly, everywhere we go, everyone wants to post and appear like they're happy instead of being happy. And
I agree with you 1,000%, man.
Yeah, so I mean, it's great. It's great to take pictures. Don't get me wrong, with your loved ones and people you're making memories with. But as far as actually posting and all that stuff, I feel like a lot of people, how can we go? I'm sure you've seen it many a times on the news. How do we go from seeing a smile right here and then suicide comes the next day? This is the face of suicide. You know what I'm saying? These smiles that you're seeing, you don't realize how hard it is, what that individual was dealing with. So to dismiss how a person feels is one of the worst things you can do for somebody that's dealing with, depression, man. And I think people really need to grasp this idea that, you never know what someone is going to be. I've seen it on Pinterest and seen it on Instagram. Be nice, because you never know what people are going through. And also be cautious, because some people are always out to strike, and that's just what that is. But just again, being genuine people in life. Talk to each other, and realize that we're roughly all the same, man. Like I spoke on the spending yesterday with my best friend, and just what he's going through right now in his life, man. And then all of us hanging out together and realizing that we're all very similar. I didn't know anybody there prior to yesterday, and we literally had the same similar backgrounds about mental health, man. And it was just astounding how we just all came together and realized that our story, and same for your story, man. Like I said, your testimony, man, it's going to inspire, and I'm truly grateful for you saying it on the show, man. I really think it's gonna turn heads. It's gonna catch the people's ear, and and bring more people to you. So that's why, again, I'm grateful, man, for you being on the show.
No problem, man. People are broken right now, and you having this type of platform and this type of outlet to allow people to hear it, this will hopefully begin the road to repair for them. Just to be able to get them to a mindset in where, things are going to be all right. I can go and talk to a therapist about this. I can document my journey. I can write it down. I can meditate. I can do yoga. I can pray all the time. I can do all of these things. So like you said earlier, can't is definitely one of those words that is not in my vocabulary anymore. I will do these things. It will be done.
Yeah.
So I'm just grateful for you to be able to allow me to be able to spread my emotions and spread the things that have happened to me on the platform, so people can see, and hopefully they can get some insight from it and begin that path of self-awareness and self-care themselves.
Indeed, man. So what would you be doing, man, if you were not involved in podcasting and media?
Honestly, what I would be doing is I would be a manager at a store that I hated, or a manager working at a place that I hated. I probably would either be a district manager right now at a wireless company, because I love cell phones, and I love just everything about cell phones, and being able to speak on them and just play around with them, and just everything, in any type of electronics I like to kind of dabble in. this, and I would definitely be in someone's store or someone's 9 to 5 hating it, but just waiting on retirement, waiting on a pension to come through. And thank God I was able to understand what my talent was early and understand what I had a gift for early and start to apply that now to everything that I'm doing. So, again, right now, am I at the place where I want to be? No, no one ever really is in the place that they want to be. That it's a place of contentment, especially if you're out here trying to get it, trying to hustle hard. But what I will say this is that you will know the Mystery Project. You will know the TMP Life. You will know Eric Lewis. So, and that's where, if I wasn't doing that, then that's what I would be doing. I would be in a job that I hate.
Okay. Yeah. So being involved in filmmaking, man, if you could interview anyone for a documentary, who would it be?
Dead or alive?
Dead or alive, man.
Matter.
Dead or alive, doesn't matter.
There's actually 2 people that I would love to document. One, I would love to document, I would love to interview Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
To see exactly where his head was when all those things started happening in his life. And, after the march on Selma and just the I Have a Dream speech and all the speeches he had after that, I would definitely love to get his mindset and just to be able to have a conversation with him about the things that are going on, the state of the youth of the United States as of now and compared to what it was before. And another person is my grandfather, my grandfather, Leander Butler the first, which is we called him Fuzzy. But I would love to interview him. He had passed when I was a teenager, and I always thought that he had a really good story to tell. And I never really had a chance to talk to him, to have a conversation with him about it, and just to even sit him down. Because he would always try to talk to me about gyms and things like that, things that are happening, that was happening in his life before we were born, before my mom was born. And I would just, young high school shit, I don't give a fuck about all of that.
Yeah.
I'm out here trying to have sex with this girl. You know what I mean? And in retrospect, I really wish I would have taken more time to have conversations with him about things that happened in his life. Being growing up in the South, being fair skinned versus darker skin like I am, and I just would have loved to have a really good conversation with him about just life.
Yeah, man. It's amazing, like how fast the times go by, and again, trying to capitalize the time that we do have with the people that we love very dearly, man. Like, again, a lot of times with family, I seen my cousin posted something like everybody comes together in death, but in life everybody goes apart, and I don't know how true that. I mean, that's definitely true for some families. It's definitely true for our family, unfortunately, and there's a lot of. I think that represents the amount of pain that our family is dealing with, unresolved issues that are not being dealt with properly, and that we need to tackle. We need to be cognizant of it and try to do what we can to rectify the situation. And I really do know. I really do wish that our family will do that, and everyone's family that's going through the same thing. I wish that they could bring that together, and it starts with us. And I do know that it definitely does start with us. Most of us are stubborn, myself included, and it's just like, if they don't want to make it work, fine. Then I just gotta work on, I just do me. But I mean, eventually something will happen with that. So, Martin Luther King and your granddad, man, that's beautiful. What's the best advice ever given to you in life, man?
Shit, man, dude, I'm like one of the things, I get advice from all types of people, and a lot of it, I would say, in the moment is really good advice, the best advice for me. So I guess it just kind of depends on the moment, what moment I'm in. One of the things that my dad used to always tell me is everybody out here don't have your best interest at heart, so you have to kind of take things with a grain of salt, and you have to stay positive regardless of whatever happens. And that's one of the things that that's probably the main one that I've kept to myself, is that no matter what, take things with a grain of salt, because a lot of times you can't control the shit that happens to you, and you have to be able to adjust according to you have to be able to adjust manifest according to the things that happen to you. So it's not actually about the action; it's all about the reaction. So that I would probably say that's one of the biggest things that he said to me is that everybody don't have your best interest at heart, and take things with a grain of salt and just keep going. I actually got that from him. Keep going. So that would be the thing that I say is my words to live by.
Yeah. All right, man. So what's one goal you have for 2019, and have you already accomplished it?
Well, one of the goals that I had was to finish up, which we can kind of go into that now. The one goal that I had for the biggest goal that I had for 2019 was to write a book and to be able to write, just to get it out. Because I've been sitting, because again, me writing, I do a lot of writing, a lot of creative writing, and I've been doing that for years now. And I've been sitting on a lot of material that I was wanting to film. But as I go through it, I begin to realize that it actually may be best if I tell it in the story, if I tell these things in the story. And so what I decided to do was write a book, write a compilation of all of the short stories that I've had, some poetry that I've done, that I've written, and some memoirs. And that was one of the biggest things that I wanted to do. Well, what happened with that is actually during one of my therapy sessions, I was telling my therapist about my book, about my idea for a book, and she was like, "Man, you have so many ideas, and you just need to write." I love the fact that you do a lot of writing, and when she said that, I don't know, for some reason it just stuck with me, and out of that came the idea to create a journal, but not just any type of journal, to create a really, really, really unconventional journal, something that's not traditional like the normal one that you'll see at Walmart or something like that, but just something that has it's just different. It's unconventional. And I decided to add that into my repertoire of add the book of short stories that I had first, the compilation book, and then I decided to add a journal to complement that. On top of that, I was going on Twitter one time, and I said, people need motivation, because there's so much bullshit that's on Twitter and on other social media outlets and stuff like that. People need motivation. So I decided to do a test. I set myself a goal to write 100 quotes for 100 days. Just motivational things that I've thought of, that I want to say to people. And I did it. And I was like, you know what? I like this so much. Let me put this in a book format as well. So I'm coming out with not one, not two, but 3 different books at one time. I'm going to be coming out with a journal, an unconventional journal, which again is a non-traditional journal or anything like that. It's a really weird journal. Number 2 is a motivational book where it's 100 quotes for 100 days, and you can write write your thoughts and your feelings based on those quotes. So it'll be a motivational journal. The 3rd book will be the compilation book, my book of short stories, my book of poetry, and my book of memoirs, all wrapped up into one compilation book. And I'm calling it the Voice series. It's going to be 3 different books under the Voice series, and the Voice is an acronym for it's very, very optimistic in creating excellence. So these 3 things will be the culmination of something. It'll be these 3 things combined will be able to help you become a better person. It'll help you be able to write out your feelings, write out your thoughts. In the first one, which is my awful ass journal, that's the name of it. This is an awful ass journal. The second one is the live lessons. So, once you're done writing out your thoughts, just your random thoughts, you can actually go into creating goals for yourself and using the motivational book as a tool that allows you to write down your daily goals or write down the goals that you have, and you're getting that motivation and that inspiration on that day. So you'll read whatever the motivation is of that day, or the quote is for that day, and then you write down what your goal is for that day. And the third one will be the writing of all 3 of the books. It'll be basically a combination of everything that I've done wrapped into that one thing. So, and that one is called Because I Wrote My Feelings. So it's going to be a 3 book trilogy called the Voice series, and all 3 books will be out in September.
That's awesome, brother.
On September the 19th.
That's really good, man. Now I want to get into, I want to say like some, some fun questions and stuff like that, man. We're just gonna have fun with it. They're kind of like quick questions, and we'll roll through them. I know earlier we spoke, and obviously we know that you you represent that dirty, that that Big Easy. So asking if you're a sports guy, what's your favorite team? So New Orleans Saints, I imagine is your favorite team. 2 years of heartbreak is what I will say. Yeah, for the Saints, 2 years. 2 years of heartbreak, man. It's just
Oh man, you have no idea, dude. 2 years of heartbreak, man. Last year was much more of last year was just disgusting, man. But it was, the year before that with the Vikings was pretty bad too. But last year with the Rams was just extremely heartbreaking, man, because everyone knows everyone knows that was foul, man. It was a hard hit, but again, we like New Orleans, what we do is we celebrate the victory, we celebrate the loss by doing a parade, by having a parade. So while the Super Bowl was going on, we boycotted the Super Bowl, and we went down we had a parade, and we just basically had a big old ass festival in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. It was an amazing one. So, yeah. This year I think we're going to do pretty well. I know Drew Brees is kind of aging a little bit, but we got some young hitters coming through, and it's going to be a good year. I think it's going to be a really good year for us.
It's going to be a good year for one team and one team alone. I have this mindset. Me and my coworker have, we talk, like we've been working together for like the last 10 years now, and we were talking. It was like football season. I think it was like the end of the football season, and it was his Giants went to the Super Bowl, and that's the year they beat the Patriots that year. And he's from the Bronx. And we're talking, and I say, and he says, like, he talking about one team that didn't win, and he was like, oh, they had a good season. I was like, did they come away with the Super Bowl? Then they didn't have a good season. There are 32 teams that entered the NFL season with one thing on their mind, and that is to win the Super Bowl. So if we don't get the Super Bowl, we didn't achieve the goal. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say. Those Saints fans, you guys would have felt a hell of a lot better had you won that Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and here's the thing, because we were in line, man. It was a good game against the Rams.
Yeah.
There are a couple of missed calls, of course, but that hard foul that we had the last.
Yeah, that was the
last one, man. That was devastating, dude.
That's what I like to call. That's what I like to call that fuck shit. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, man. Oh, dude, it was that super fuck shit, man. And it was, it was a severe pass interference call, man. We were just, bro, it was heartbreaking.
I was like,
it was heartbreaking, bro.
Yeah, I watched that.
And then for the refs to come back and say, yeah, you know what, we signed with the Saints. Fuck, it's too late, no?
Yeah.
It's too late.
That's not how that works.
But it's all good, though. It's all good.
That's 2 years, and then the year before with the one that one play, man. That you could. I don't know if you could recreate that if you tried. It was.
The play with the Vikings.
When your cornerback, slipped up and
Michael. Slip up. There's a conspiracy theory about that here back in the war.
That was. They tried to say. I've seen things where they say that was a setup. That was all it was all rigged and all that. But it keeps us coming every year. That not knowing that uncertainty whether or not it's rigged keeps us showing up every year to these stadiums. It keeps us buying Sunday ticket. Keeps us having NFL Red Zone. It's just I love the game of football. Like again, there's no other sport that and I would say inspires me. Probably, you know what? If I was into soccer, probably because like being behind a country, like your country playing for something versus just like a city or something. I imagine it's a heck of a lot more passionate and like with Toronto winning in the finals, it was different because it wasn't just to like the city, like I'll call it here, like here in Miami. It wasn't just like Miami versus Golden State. It was an entire country.
It was
a country. And then old Kawhi, as Shannon Sharp, my man Shay Sharp likes to call him, old Kawhi right there, Skip. You gotta love him, Skip, stop, Skip. I love Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp probably is my favorite on air personality right now. But him winning that for that country meant so much, man. And even with him leaving and going to coming home to LA, you can respect that move. You can respect that move, but winning it for winning that for a country, that's awesome, man. That's something that he's gone to two teams and won it.
And that's the cool thing about Kawhi Leonard. That's what I like about Kawhi Leonard is that he's still a stand-up guy. And even when he did leave, people were still saying, "Man, like damn, we're gonna miss you." But at the end of the day, we understand why, because he wants to go back home. Like you said, he wants to be closer to home.
You can respect that.
For him to be able to, So I mean, why not? And then, I definitely don't think that he was going to go to the Lakers. I didn't think he was going to go there because there's too much power there now. He would.
I'll tell you what, him not going to the Lakers. He didn't go to the Lakers, but it was fun watching Shannon Sharp talk about him going to the Lakers. That motherfucker right there, he's classic, man. He is so classic. He said, "Ooh, Skip, I'm telling you, we're gonna get that three-headed monster, Skip." Yeah.
Right.
Shannon is great, man. And even like when we get to like tough issues, I love how he tackles that issue. He's not afraid to go into that issue, and no matter how deep it is. Speaking on like the celebrity in chief that we have in office right now, as we talked about earlier, he's not afraid to talk about that on air, where he could possibly lose endorsements, sponsors, all of that shit, man. And he goes in on that. Yeah. But I said, we said all that to say that, but soccer, that the impact that soccer has, going from like playing from country to country, I imagine it's a lot more passion. But football is like that. That's my adrenaline rush. I don't really care too much for watching basketball anymore. Me personally, I'm a Bulls fan. I will die a Bulls fan. I was raised a Bulls fan, and that's just how it's going to be. And I'm a Niner, Niner fan for football. But like football just does that for me, Yeah, man. So what? Next question I got for you. What is your favorite day of the week and why?
Man, to be honest with you, I really don't even have a favorite day of the week, and because to me now every day is as long as I'm up and I'm alive, living, and I'm fully functional, all five of my senses, all six of my senses, including my third eye. As long as I'm up the day of as long as I'm above the ground, in the land of the living, that means I have something to do to make an impact on somebody's life. So every day of the week to me is good, as long as I'm alive. That's my take on it. Now, what day I'm more comfortable with? Probably Sunday, because I know on Sundays I'm off from my regular job or whatever. And a lot of times my wife and I will go either bicycling or we'll just go take a jog or go do some Sunday morning. We like to watch the sunrise.
That's
so
awesome.
We'll go somewhere. Yeah, we'll go somewhere and just kind of like either go ride a bike or just driving around the city of Dallas, because I'm still trying to explore Dallas. I've been here for a little bit less than a year now, and just trying to figure out some of the cool things, some of the little cracks and crevices of Dallas, some of the hidden gems that Dallas has to offer. And Sundays are typically those days that I like to do that.
Yeah. Okay, man. So obviously you mentioned that you're married, man. So what's one thing that you love about a woman? No, I guess we'll go more specifically. What's one thing you love about your woman?
I mean, well, what I will say is, as far as women is concerned, I'll answer both questions. So, as far as women, the one thing I love about women is just the overall, just the femininity of just being so nurturing, so emotional, so nourishing. Just like he's speaking to a woman and things like that, just having them not necessarily that they need you, because women don't need you, they don't need you at all, but the idea of feeling like you're needed, by someone, and it makes me want to make sure that I'm wanted by someone, make And for me, for my woman, the one thing I like about her, which is kind of the one thing I hate about her, is her honesty. I love her honesty because she's very direct when it comes to things. And a cool thing about her, we have a really weird relationship, which I tell people this all the time. We do. Our relationship is weird too, but it works. Like my woman, my wife is not like the typical woman who would nag all the time. She doesn't nag about things. Like if I go out with my cousins or if I go out with friends, she won't be like, well, how long are you going to be gone? Well, I can't come. She'll be like, just come back safe, like that. Or like if I'm out, longer than expected or whatever, I'll call her just to check on her and be like, hey, I'm making sure you're good. And she was like, yeah, I'm good over here. Everything's fine. So she doesn't complain a lot. She doesn't complain to me about things. And we hardly ever argue. That's another thing too. I can count on one hand how many times we argue in 1 year. Like we may argue twice, maybe 3 times a year. But when we argue though, it'd be chaos.
Yeah, it's a war that you're not gonna win.
Oh, it's a war.
It's a war.
No, and I don't intend to.
No.
To be completely transparent, I would say 3/4 of the time it's because of my fuck shit that I've done. But when we argue heavy, hot and heavy. But then we get over it and we move on. One thing that I love about my woman, we don't argue. Like again, our relationship is very dynamic. It's very weird in the sense of not being traditional.
Yeah.
But it works. We love it that way.
Yeah. Well, as long as people understand that, when we do have arguments, we're not going against each other. We're going against the issue. You know what I'm saying? I think that would help people a lot better in their relationships. And I feel like that once you have that mindset and that perspective, you kind of look at things differently. It's not me against you, it's us against the issue, and it's a team effort thing. So how do we fix this? How do we get over this? You know what I mean? But yeah, man. So let me ask you this. So how do you feel about the current state of hip hop?
It's funny. I was actually just having a conversation with my good friend about this yesterday. All right, not yesterday, 2 days ago, and because he and I talk hip hop all the time, and we grew up to, of course, Outkast, Goody Mob. I really believe the way it's going now, the way it's commercialized, it's for a purpose. I do like the idea of it being broad and being expanded out to where it is. Like now, hip hop is the #1 music genre in the world, and it's with good reason because we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in there. We put a lot of our emphasis in there, and in terms of the culture, we are the culture. No matter what anyone is, no matter what anyone says, no matter what anyone tries to combat, whatever they try to debate, we are the culture. We are the things that make things cool. We are the ones that make things cool, and there's no debating that at all. So I like the current state of culture and the current state of hip hop in regards to that. Now, some of the hip hop that's out right now, I can't deal with it. But everything kind of balances out for me because for one trash ass rapper or whatever that's out there, talking about rolling on my wrist or the ice on my neck, bust down the Patek or whatever. There's another one that's out here saying, that's out here being a lot more vocal, a lot more social, like J. Cole. He just dropped the Dreamville.
Yep. Revenge of Dreamville. Yeah, that shit. I love that shit, man. And like some of the artists that, again, they don't have their names yet, but they came correct on this album, man. I mean, J. Cole is dope, naturally, and me being from Virginia and my family being from Fayetteville, not Fayetteville, but Laurinburg, North Carolina, and then my cousin who he's pretty fond of J. Cole. He's the one that actually put me on to J. Cole, and I never really listened to him. And I kind of just felt like, I remember him being like very big on the mixtape, in a big mixtape game back in 2008.
Right.
Yeah. You know that, man. And then like for me to listen to Sideline Story and just the way he, the way he, he told his story was just, it was captivating. It truly was captivating, and different perspectives on so many different issues, like the joint he did with Missy, Nobody's Perfect, and just, but I would say Born Sinner is probably one of my most played albums by him, man. He's just so great, man. And Big Crit too. Big Crit too is another one, man. And he keeps it southern. That's what I love about Big Crit. Big Crit is like he's cut from the Outkast, the David Banner, the Goody Mob, cloth, and I love that about him.
Right. What I will say, that was one of the questions I was just about to ask you. What was your favorite J. Cole album? But you and I are definitely on the same page, brother. Born Sinner, I think, was the one that made me feel like, because I like the Sideline Story, but Born Sinner was more like, oh shit. I like this one.
Yeah, the Sideline. I mean, I like Sideline. Like that would made me a fan. When I used to live in North Carolina, I would drive around and like that would be the album I played the most there. And then when I moved back to Miami, Born Sinner was like that. That was that one, man. Just the different samples that were used, like, and being, us being hip hop fans from like, again, what we say is the golden era of hip hop. And then like with 90s rap. So for him to use the sample from Electric Relaxation, for him to use, the art of storytelling, I was sold. I was sold on the art of storytelling. And then, like, for those Mobb Deep fans, when he used, what's the Mobb Deep record that they both used the same sample, man. I think it's off. I think it is. No, it's not off of Born Sinner. It's actually off of the the Drive, whatever the Drive. The next album.
Oh, Forest Hill Drive.
Saint-Tropez is that's what Havoc used that sample off of the Infamous album, and like it took me a while. I didn't hear. I was a late bloomer with Mobb Deep. I was very much so a late bloomer with Mobb Deep, and hearing the Infamous because I read I listened to Prodigy's book, his audio book, and his story is captivating too, man. If anybody hasn't heard it, check it. You got Apple Music. Listen to Prodigy's book, and God bless the dead, man. He was great, man. He truly was a great artist. Like, and I'm sad that I didn't recognize this more when I was in high school when they were out.
They were out, yeah. What I will say is I have been kind of going back towards like some of the older artists now, like Mos Def. Like I've been listening to some of Mos Def stuff as of recent, or Yasin B. Listening to some of his stuff as of recent. Another one right now. Well, there's a couple of them that I'm just really jamming right now. Freddie Gibbs, that one with him and Madlib, Bandana.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that one before. Yeah, that one is pretty dope, man. But I like Pusha T because he had a song on there with Pusha T and Killer Mike, which was amazing. I've been listening to that. The Dreamville, of course. I've been listening to Return of the Dreamers. And what else have I been listening to? I've been kind of listening more or less to R&B now. Some of the newer R&B, like Daniel Caesar, although I know he had his little tips with some of the comments that he made recently about just getting along with white people and things like that, or whatever, his stance on it. That I've been listening to. Lucky Day has probably been the one that's been in my playlist, that's been in my rotation pretty much ever since it first came out. I don't know if you're familiar with Lucky Day or not.
No, I haven't heard that, no.
Yeah, he's a product of New Orleans as well. He has a new album called Painted. It came out, I think, around maybe late May or something like that, and it's a true R&B album. Like, I love it. I love what he came out with. Like, his single is on the radio now called Roll Some Mo. He played that on adult contemporary radio now, and it's called Lucky Day. It's a really, really amazing album. I've been listening to that. I've also been listening to El Born because I'm a huge El Born fan. He just put out another album last week, and that one, Elevation, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. But I've been more on the R&B tip lately, man. And one other thing too, 70s rock. That's my guilty pleasure. I've been listening to a lot of 70s rock, like Who-Dat and the Eagles.
Oh yeah, man.
Places, people like that, and that is Steely Dan is probably my favorite group of 70s rock. 70s, like that easy listening rock or whatever. I've been listening to that a lot lately. That's my guilty pleasure.
I got one more question for you, man, and then I'm gonna turn it over to you. I'm gonna start calling this segment, this 3 question segment. I'm gonna call it the takeover, being such a big Jay-Z fan. Hopefully I don't get sued or anything like that, but it's just showing my just paying homage to it and to Kanye, and Kanye for producing it. But what's your favorite spot to hit on Bourbon?
Bourbon, man. Well, let me ask this first. Have you ever been to New Orleans?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got a grenade. I went there for my boy's wedding back in 2015. Yeah, we went to Mardi Gras for 2015, man. Yeah, it was great. It was fun.
That's the best time.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the best time there, man.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you, you motherfuckers, man, I need to know what the deal is in New Orleans where we're handing out daiquiris in the drive-thru. I have to drive. I was like, what is this shit?
You know what's funny about that, which I'll answer the question in a few seconds, but what's funny about that is a lot of people come to New Orleans and they are completely unfamiliar with that. It's something that we've been doing for decades, man. Like, when they drive through daiquiris. Like, and the thing is, we put the daiquiris in the straw because, or we put the straws inside the daiquiris or whatever, because in certain states or whatever, they have drive-through daiquiris, but they have to actually wrap it up. Like here in Texas, they have to wrap it up. They have to wrap it in saran wrap or whatever, and keep it close. Just for people drinking and driving or whatever. But in New Orleans, man, they don't play that shit. They will give you a daiquiri. They'll give you the strongest daiquiri on earth. And you can drive right off and drink that and drink it like it's nothing. So yeah, that's a deal. That's standard here in Louisiana. That's not even just New Orleans, but it's in Baton Rouge and other cities as well in Louisiana. That's just a thing for us. But to answer your question, my favorite place has to be Razoo. Razoo is the place to be in New Orleans. If you don't go to any other nightclub in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, you got to go to Razoo, because that is the one place that you more than likely will see a celebrity in there. You'll see a ball player in there. You'll probably see an attorney in there. You'll see somebody in political office in there. Everybody just has fun when they're in there. So Razoo would be the one place definitely to go to have a great time on Bourbon Street in New Orleans.
I don't remember much places. I remember what I had when I was when I was out there, and I was gone. We were it was it's February 2015. Y'all get kind of cold out there, and so we out there, out there in the jacket and all that shit. But it was fun though, man. We went to a strip club out there that night, and I literally was having a full blown conversation about hustling with a stripper, and she was steady trying to get money out of me, man. Yeah, I was like, nah, yeah. So what you do? Like, you gotta. I was basically giving her tips on how the hell she could make more money. I know there's a lot of alcohol in me that night, man. But I had a grenade, man. The grenade, that shit potent right there, man. I love those. Yeah.
Yeah, the hand grenade is one of the most potent drinks that you can ever have. And the thing is, you don't even know what's in it. You don't know what's in it or anything like that because they don't tell you what's in it. But you just know that it's going to knock you on your ass whenever you drink it. You're going to drink it and you're going to get fucked up. That and the Hurricane. Those are the two main staples in New Orleans on Bourbon Street.
All right, man. Well, this show is being turned over, man. It's now the takeover, the Eric takeover right here.
Yeah. So, well, I thought I had 3 questions, but I actually have 2 questions for you.
Go ahead, brother.
You can kind of elaborate on these. The first one is, what got you into podcasting?
What got me into podcasts? That's probably the most asked question I get doing this, and I love answering it because hopefully it inspires people to do the very same thing, man. I wanted to have a voice, man, to come and just talk about anything, and it was therapeutic for me with mental health. Because again, I was dealing with like depression and I didn't really have an outlet. So I decided that I was going to create a platform and just talk about issues, talk about the issues I have with myself, talk about issues I have with family, the issues I have in relationships, issues I have with the world as a whole, in hopes that somebody else is feeling the same way and they can probably offer, to come on the show and offer their perspective and give a new way of looking at things. And I feel like that's happened. Like, forgetting your testimony dealing with like mental health and just wanting to meditate and doing yoga and changing your diet and all these things, man. And it just I wanted to create a place where people had a voice for those who don't have a voice, and just make a way out of no way, having that vision that, you know, like, again, 2 years ago, there was no 2 cents made by me. There wasn't a podcast that's talking about any and everything, and, you know, and we give our 2 cents, the slogan for that. So I wanted to just, I just wanted to be a part of every, I was listening to podcasts all the time, and it's like just studying and learning, like, man, you know what, I probably could do this. And that's really all it took, man. It's just like, you know what, I can do this, because this is like how you said, it took literally 10 years, over a decade for you to figure out, to get this thing going. We would always have these deep conversations at work, me and like my work sisters, and then they would always say, you know what, you should create a podcast. I was like you, I don't know how to do that shit. How do you go about doing a podcast? Because you think everything has to be so professional at first, but Apple, Google, all of them started in a garage. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. And I just felt like, creating this platform was going to, again, create a network. Because hell, if I hadn't have done that, me and you wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So the universe, I love how the universe ties things in. And it's just, I just think that's so dope, man. But yeah, to answer your question, man, I wanted to create a platform where folks can have a voice. That's really what the premise of all this is. More importantly, my voice. I wanted my voice to be heard too.
Awesome, man, awesome. And I like the story that you have, because I too was my podcast were came into fruition because of that as well. Just the idea of just having a voice, and knowing that you have a voice, and knowing that you wanted to be able to share to the world what you were thinking. Just to, again, as an outlet. It was an outlet for you to be able to speak how you feel about certain topics and certain things, and to be able to help others relate by relating to what you have to say. So yeah, good. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. I just, we just try to make it through and inspire and keep building success, man. Like, again, making everybody else successful, because that's really what we're all trying to do, man. Anything from the person that's like going to Harvard to the brother that's on the corner slinging something, you know what I'm saying? It's just about being successful and having something, that you're proud of. And I mean, a lot of people don't really understand that mindset of like doing whatever it takes to survive, but you're going to take what's in your surroundings and make the most of it. Now, I have never in my life sold any form of drug or anything like that, or been around anybody that did that. But looking from the outside, looking in and seeing it from their perspective, one through music or through film, you see, or in documentary, you understand, like, if it came down to it, if I was fortunate enough to be in a position where my parents didn't have me in a position where we had to do that, and if it comes down to it, you're going to do whatever it takes to survive. I assure you.
That is true.
I agree
with you 100%.
That will put you in that mind state, man, where it's like survival mindset. So you just gotta tackle it. But yeah, man, go ahead with your last question, bro.
Okay, so the last question I have, which is one that I typically do on my podcast.
Go ahead.
Whenever I speak with or I have conversations with people, I always ask them the same question, and I'll give context behind it as well. So my question is, what controls you? And what I mean by that is, everyone has something that controls them, that makes them get up in the morning, get out of bed every morning, go to work every morning, start your endeavor, start your entrepreneurship, start your goals, start working on your level of success or whatever to achieve success.
Okay.
That is the one thing that controls you, and that controls everything about you. And that is the one reason why you do what you do. So that's my question to you. What controls you?
What controls me is ensuring my daughter's future, and any child that comes after that. Like, I looked at, I sat back for a while and saw how people were, like, how families had wealth and how wealth is passed on from generation to generation. And then I looked at my own family, and as far as like, do we have wealth, or are we just working until we die? And what I wanted to do was, even if it starts with me and ends with me, I'm gonna make it to where my family has wealth. Like, again, there would be something that will be passed on. My daughter will take over as like CEO of the business when it's time for me to step down, or in the future kids. Like, the family will, our family will be built from this. You know what I'm saying? We've got to make we might not have started as millionaires, but we're damn sure going to be, if we're not millionaires, if we didn't come into like something being a millionaire, or just being, or really not even millionaires, just really just being successful is more important to me. Like, if we're not successful, coming to a successful family, then we're going to be the first one to do it. And that's really what I want to do for, like, that's my mindset. I want to, what controls me every morning and inspires me is to become a success, so that my daughter does not have to want for anything from anyone. And all my, like, I would say my intermediate family, not, yeah. So just because you have to put you first. You have to put you first, because you're unable to pour from an empty cup. So yeah, my family, I want them to be wealthy, not rich. I don't, rich is something you can lose in a weekend. Wealthy is something that's passed on from generation to generation. So that's really where my mindset comes from.
Awesome, man. And it's kind of in line with mine as well. Like, everything to me is about succession. You want to be able to leave some lasting legacy for your family, and for your your immediate family, and for friends and everyone else that who you can help build something amazing with. And again, you doing it for that reason is definitely the reason why you need to continue to keep going. So yeah, man, that's amazing, dude. Like, doing it for your daughter. Do it for your daughter, And like you said, for any other kids that you decide to have now, as long as you do that, then you'll always having the generational wealth, and having that financial freedom. Again, like you said, not necessarily to be uber rich, but just to be enough to whereas you can leave a lasting legacy for your people, and have people remember who you are. So yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, like I said, man, I really do appreciate you being on this episode, man. I really think that the folks are going to love this one. I think they're going to be inspired by it. I think they'll have an idea of how to start filmmaking. They'll have an idea of how to start a business just in general, and just having the courage to do so, and know that you can do it. It's not a can't. I hope that's one point I want to drive home from this interview is, like, fuck that word can't. I hate that shit.
I agree. Fuck can't, man. Yeah. There's no such thing as can't. Yeah, there's no such thing as can't. There's always do. Either you do or you don't. Yeah. Period. Either you will or you won't. There's never a middle ground, and there's never a reason why you should tell yourself you cannot do something. Nah, fuck that. Do it.
Yeah.
Get it done and keep going.
Exactly, man. So before we get out of here, man, just tell the folks where they can find you, bro. And where they can follow you, whether it's through social media or if you got a website or anything like that. Just let them know that is just that time right here.
Definitely, man. People can follow me on social media, on Facebook and Instagram at the TMP Life. That is THE, T as in Tom, M as in Mary, P as in Paul, life.com. I'm sorry, at the TMP Life. Or you can go to tmplife.com, which the website will be refreshed and updated at 7 p.m. tonight. It will include what I talked about earlier with my voice series, my collection of books that I'm coming out with. So for those who are in the mindset or who wants something better out of life and who wants to do something great, it all starts by writing down your goals. And my journals will definitely help in aid in assisting you writing down your goals. And because it's unconventional, like I said earlier, and you need unconventional thoughts in order for you to become an unconventional person and to become a successful person. So yeah, all of that information will be on the website later on tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
All right, brother. Like I said, man, appreciate you being on, man. I'm wishing the Saints a happy season. Hopefully you get redemption for the last 2 years of bullshit. I'm just hoping that the Niners can make playoffs. That's really all we got going for us right now.
Right, exactly, man. Look, well wishes to the Niners as well. Hopefully they can do something this year. We'll see what happens with my team.
Either way, I'm just a fan of the NFL, man. Like, I'd like for my team to be winning, but the storylines alone keep me in interest. Like, we have to admit it. As much as I get on Cowboy fans all the time, football is more interesting when the Cowboys are good. So
that's right. You're absolutely right about that. That's one thing I noticed about being here in Dallas.
Yeah,
it's way more interesting when the Cowboys are good.
So here's hoping to a great season. Anyway, brother, love what you're doing, man. Keep going strong, man. Keep dealing with that mental health. Black people, it's all right. It's all right to admit you got mental health problems. Understand that, and we will get through this stuff together as a people.
I agree. One other thing I do want to leave to the listeners is, if ever you have, even if it's something that you don't feel comfortable with, like sharing to people, whatever. Or let me rephrase that. If you like what you're hearing, and you like what some of the things that either Rome and myself are offering to you, please feel free to DM me. You can DM me or you can send me an email, and I will definitely answer your questions. I respond to all emails. If you want more information on mental health, on my journey through mental health, and how the things that I've done was able to save me through meditation and through yoga and all these different practices, then definitely hit me up. You can DM me on Instagram. You can send me a private message on Facebook, or you can just email me at hithere@tmplife.com. That's hi there, like hello there. Hi there at tmplife.com.
All right, for Romey-Mak and Eric Lewis, we out.